The Upachaya houses, Conscious Growth with Time, Scorpio Rising Part 1. From instinct to implementation, where depth turns into discipline and the inner warrior learns the long game. For Scorpio Rising, the Upachaya houses, 3rd, 6th, 10th, and 11th, demand that its intensity be forged into strategy, structure, and sustainable power. Ruled by Mars and co-ruled by Ketu, Scorpio thrives on transformation, inner strength, and control. But these 4 houses don't reward drama or extremes. They reward consistency, clarity, and conscious development over time. Each becomes a crucible where instinct is reshaped into long-term capacity. Here, Scorpio Rising must learn that power is not just about control, it's about contribution. These houses slowly train the fixed water sign to step beyond personal defense and develop an outward-facing role built on influence, repetition, and purpose-driven evolution. The 3rd house, Capricorn, structured courage, tactical expression, and respect earned through effort. Activated ages 3, 15, 27, 39, 51, 63, 75. With Capricorn in the 3rd house, Scorpio Rising builds their courage through discipline, consistency, and strategy. This is not a placement for loud expression. It's about authority through articulation. Early in life, there may be delays or fear in communication, competition with siblings, or cautious effort toward learning skills. But over time, Scorpio develops an impeccable ability to communicate with purpose, plan over instinct, and sustain effort without needing attention. This house matures into professional writing, legal negotiation, or building skill sets that require focused repetition, be it martial arts, engineering, or crisis navigation. The voice becomes a tool, not a weapon, and actions speak far louder than emotion ever could. The 6th house, Aries, initiative and service, fire in daily battles, and willpower through routine. Activated ages 6, 18, 30, 42, 54, 66, 78. With Mars, Scorpio's ruler, governing the 6th house from Aries, this is a double dose of drive. Daily life is a battlefield, and Scorpio Rising must channel their intensity into direct, energetic action, especially when facing illness, debt, or daily conflict. This house demands physical exertion, bold routine management, and tactical combat with inefficiency. In youth, this can manifest as aggression, competition, or overreaction to daily pressures. But when matured, Scorpio Rising becomes a disciplined warrior, mastering crisis management, fitness, or leadership in high-pressure work environments. Their growth here requires learning that every battle doesn't need to be personal, and that service becomes sacred when executed with intention, not impulse. The 10th house, Leo, public radiance, purposeful presence, and authority through identity. Activated ages 10, 22, 34, 46, 58, 70, 82. With Leo at the top of the chart, Scorpio Rising is called to shine publicly with integrity. This is a house of karma, reputation, and leadership, and the fixed fire of Leo brings a powerful stage to Scorpio's natural mystique. But it's not enough to hold power behind the scenes. This house demands visibility, creativity, and authentic self-expression. In early life, Scorpio Rising may resist attention or mistrust authority. But with time, they learn that true leadership comes from embodying values with consistency, not hiding in strategic shadows. They are called to lead in fields like psychology, governance, the arts, or crisis navigation, anywhere that demands inner resilience and outer radiance. The ego must not be denied, but refined into service. The 11th house, Virgo, pragmatic gains, service-driven networks, and systemic thinking in social goals. Activated ages 11, 23, 35, 47, 59, 71, 83. With Virgo in the 11th house, Scorpio Rising must approach ambition with discernment, humility, and function-first logic. Gains come not from who you know, but from how well you contribute. Virgo here insists that Scorpio transform desire into refined planning, that their networks be built on shared improvement, and that alliances are curated with intentional, service-oriented connection. Early in life, this placement may manifest as social caution, over-analysis of group dynamics, or perfectionism in setting goals. But maturity brings mastery in organizing social systems, leading improvement-driven teams, or healing communities through skillful leadership. This is where Scorpio learns to lead with competence, not charisma, and that real gain is measured in service delivered, not status declared. In summary, The Upachaya houses for Scorpio, rising transmute instinct into execution. Capricorn in the third teaches that discipline is the foundation of courage. Aries in the sixth demands initiative in the service of others. Leo in the 10th calls them to own their light and lead with integrity. Virgo in the 11th insists they anchor vision in precision and practice. When these houses are integrated, Scorpio rising moves from silent power to structured purpose, becoming not just a survivor, but a steady force that quietly builds, uplifts, and transforms everything it touches. The Upachaya houses, Conscious Growth with Time, Scorpio Rising, Part 2. 8 most defining conjunctions in the Upachaya houses where instinct meets endurance and power matures through precision. For Scorpio rising, the Upachaya houses 3rd, 6th, 10th, and 11th are not places of ease. These are houses of applied effort, social karma, and mastery earned through repetition, responsibility, and resilience. Governed by Capricorn, Aries, Leo, and Virgo, they push Scorpio's instinctive, emotionally driven nature to evolve into pragmatic discipline, daily action, earned authority, and structured impact. The planetary conjunctions in these houses define where Scorpio rising moves from intensity into intelligent execution. Mars plus Mercury in the third, the tactical speaker or the verbal combatant. In Capricorn, this combination gives Scorpio rising razor-sharp articulation and precise verbal timing. It's excellent for negotiation, law, technical instruction, or debate. But if afflicted, it leads to sarcastic defensiveness, harsh sibling dynamics, or anxious communication habits. They evolve when they slow down to sharpen and use speech to strategize, not strike. Saturn plus Sun in the third, the reluctant mentor, or the structured communicator. This pairing creates a disciplined thinker and teacher. Scorpio rising may struggle with early self-expression, authority in sibling relationships, or confidence in their voice. But with time, they gain deep credibility and measured authority in speech. They grow when they release the fear of judgment and understand that clarity is strength, not performance. Mars Moon in the sixth, the emotional rescuer, or the reactive fighter. In Aries, this conjunction turns Scorpio rising into a bold crisis responder or emotional first responder in high-stakes environments. They may be instinctive healers, protectors, or frontline workers. But early on, it may lead to burnout, reactive behavior at work, or impulsive health issues. They mature when they direct their energy with awareness and realize that not every fire must be fought with fire. Venus plus Sun in the sixth, the creative servant, or the ego in routine. This blend adds grace, charm, and warmth to daily labor. Scorpio rising may excel in healing professions, hospitality, or service through design and wellness. But afflicted, it can bring vanity in workplace dynamics, avoidance of hard tasks, or emotional dependency on approval. They evolve when they bring beauty into systems without becoming beholden to praise, and treat service as soulful, not subordinate. Sun, Jupiter in the 10th, the visionary leader or the inflated authority. In Leo, this majestic combination gives Scorpio rising charisma, moral confidence, and karmic leadership potential. They may become institutional heads, visionaries, or inspirational leaders. But afflicted, it leads to pride, stubbornness, or overextension. Their growth comes when they lead through clarity, not volume, and allow their wisdom to serve more than self-image. Mercury-Venus in the 10th, the diplomatic voice or the performance polisher. This pairing gives Scorpio rising public elegance and communicative magnetism. They're admired for their intellect, style, or refined expression in public roles. But unevolved, it leads to superficial branding, career indecision, or approval-based decision-making. Maturity begins when they let intellect serve impact, and when aesthetic becomes a vessel for purpose. Rahu's Moon in the 11th, the intense social climber or the collective empath. In Virgo, this conjunction creates obsession with group identity, approval, or sudden shifts in alliances. Scorpio rising may overwork to fit in or carry others emotionally in group settings. But with awareness, they become intuitive organizers, tech-savvy reformers, or collective empaths who lead with precision and care. Their path clarifies when they detach from needing recognition and instead refine their role within the system. Mars plus Saturn in the 11th, the social strategist or the isolated reformer. This powerful combination gives Scorpio rising the drive to build institutions, movements, or long-term group structures. They may gain through government, policy reform, or legacy-building alliances. But if afflicted, it causes social rigidity, suppressed anger, or cold detachment in friendships. Growth occurs when they blend in intensity with humility and allow collaboration to refine their individual fire. In summary, the Upachaya houses for Scorpio rising are where instinct is reforged into structured influence. Capricorn in the third teaches discipline of speech. Aries in the sixth demands fierce, conscious service. Leo in the 10th challenges them to own their light with integrity. Virgo in the 11th requires that their ambition be measured, systematized, and socially meaningful. These conjunctions show whether Scorpio will wield power for control or for measured, long-term transformation. When integrated, Scorpio rising becomes not only resilient, but strategic, silent, and sustainably sovereign in how they serve and succeed. The Upachaya houses, Conscious Growth with Time, Scorpio Rising Part 3. The sixth house, Aries, Fierce Discipline, Independent Service, and Leadership through Confrontation, where the inner warrior faces the mundane battle and learns the power of daily execution. For Scorpio rising, the sixth house, associated with conflict, illness, competition, service, and daily routine, falls in Aries, ruled by Mars, which is also Scorpio's chart ruler. This creates a strong martial signature, doubling down on the need for courage, strategy, and endurance in facing everyday life. But while Scorpio tends to be slow-burning and emotionally intense, Aries here demands immediate, physical, and visible action. This is the battlefield where Scorpio rising must turn reaction into routine and crisis into competence. They cannot avoid friction. They must learn to channel it productively, especially in their habits, health, or work environments. This house isn't about subtle transformation. It's about showing up, fighting fair, and getting it done. Let's examine the most defining conjunctions in Aries that shape Scorpio rising's growth in this fiercely active Upachaya house. Mars Sun, the commanding executor or the combust crusader. This powerhouse duo gives Scorpio rising stamina, ambition, and the will to dominate their work environment. They may thrive in emergency services, competitive athletics, or fast-paced leadership roles. But when imbalanced, this combination leads to arrogance, burnout, or hyper-competitiveness. Maturity begins when they fight fewer battles, but win the ones that matter, and realize that true strength comes from staying power, not show of force. Mars plus Saturn, the iron worker or the repressed reactor. This tense pair gives Scorpio rising incredible resilience and work ethic. They can build disciplined routines, manage pressure under fire, and execute large tasks that demand grit. But early in life, this can cause internalized anger, frustration with slow progress, or chronic health tension. Growth lies in harnessing fire through form and learning that consistent energy yields deeper success than explosive effort. Mars Moon, the crisis healer or the emotional reactor. This combination adds instinctive energy to healing and service. Scorpio rising becomes a natural emergency responder, protective leader, or sharp emotional advocate. But afflicted, it brings mood-based overreaction in professional spaces, health volatility, or excessive defensiveness in routine. Wisdom comes when they honor emotion without letting it lead, and turn urgency into informed, intuitive action. Mars plus Mercury, the tactical analyst or the combative critic. This cerebral fire pairing makes Scorpio rising skilled at technical problem-solving, crisis analysis, and strategy implementation in work and health. They're fast, sharp, and excellent under stress. But when unevolved, it leads to sharp-tongued conflict, mental burnout, or chronic tension with coworkers. Their maturity unfolds when they speak with precision, not pressure, and solve problems with patience, not panic. Shots, Venus plus Mars, the harmonized worker or the seductive resistor. This gives Scorpio rising the ability to bring grace to grit, fusing artistic talent or aesthetic instinct into practical execution. It suits those in beauty, wellness, or physical design professions. But when afflicted, this can bring passive-aggressive tendencies in service, avoidance of conflict, or superficial distractions from real effort. Their breakthrough comes when they build beauty through discipline and realize that grace can be an edge, not a veil. Rahu plus Mars, the risk-driven striver or the explosive underdog. This powerful, unstable combo drives Scorpio rising to chase difficult goals, break workplace norms, or rise through sheer grit and rebellion. They may succeed quickly in high-risk jobs or unconventional routines, but Rahu's distortion of Mars can cause injury, erratic work habits, or conflict addiction. Their maturity begins when they slow down without softening and strategize their ambition without self-sabotage. Sun plus Saturn, the tireless reformer or the overburdened executor. This karmic blend gives Scorpio rising long-term leadership potential in service-based or institutional roles. They carry responsibility from a young age, often becoming the quiet backbone of any structure. Yet this pairing can create self-doubt, loneliness at work, or a tendency to take on too much. Their power unfolds when they lead without martyrdom and when they build systems that outlast them. Moon plus Saturn, the grounded healer or the emotionally numb worker. This duo gives emotional containment and resilience in service. Scorpio rising may become a caregiver, trauma worker, or quiet endurance force in caregiving or technical roles. But when afflicted, it leads to emotional repression, workaholism, or psychosomatic issues. Healing begins when they soften without surrendering, and when they allow their emotional truth into the structure they serve. In summary, Aries in the 6th house teaches Scorpio rising that true power is not held. It is exerted repeatedly in small, purposeful acts. These conjunctions reveal whether Scorpio will burn out or build routines that refine their fire. This house demands that the internal warrior develop a code, that reaction becomes ritual, and that crisis becomes craft. When matured, Scorpio rising becomes not just a survivor, but a first responder, a systems warrior, and a disciplined executor who turns inner fire into tangible service. The Upachaya houses, Conscious Growth with Time, Scorpio Rising Part 4. The 10th house, Leo, Sovereign Karma, Public Fire, and Leadership through Creative Integrity, where the shadow strategist steps into the light and the power behind the throne becomes the throne itself. For Scorpio Rising, the 10th house, Karma Bhava, the realm of career, legacy, and visible contribution, falls in Leo, ruled by the sun. This is where Scorpio's typical behind-the-scenes control must evolve into public courage. The private intensity of Scorpio is challenged by Leo's call to radiate, create, and take center stage in their karmic role. This house demands that the rising sign of silence and secrecy own its light without apology or manipulation. Leo in the 10th demands presence, consistency, and the willingness to be seen for what one truly stands for. While Scorpio would often rather work through strategy and silence, this placement says, lead visibly, creatively, and with a clear heart. The world will not just watch what you build, it will watch how you carry it. Let's explore the defining conjunctions in Leo that shape Scorpio rising's rise to public power and their journey through visible purpose. Sun plus Mars, the commanding leader or the overbearing authority. This fiery pair gives Scorpio rising a magnetic public presence and immense drive. They may lead through performance, government, entrepreneurship, or bold public roles. But when immature, it leads to ego wars, stubborn leadership, or defensiveness under scrutiny. Their evolution lies in balancing intensity with dignity and learning that true power doesn't react, it resonates. Sun plus Mercury, the orator strategist or the image-obsessed planner. This blend creates an articulate, persuasive public figure. Scorpio rising becomes a voice of strategy, political intellect, or refined communication in high places. But when afflicted, it fosters performance without depth or thought too bound to impression. Maturity comes when they speak from soul, not script, and when intellect is used to uplift, not outsmart. Sun plus Saturn, the stoic architect or the burdened performer. This powerful conjunction gives Scorpio rising long-range authority, karmic leadership, and a commitment to legacy building. They may face delays in recognition but rise with lasting impact. Yet this combination can also bring fear of judgment, internal rigidity, or emotional suppression in public roles. Mastery begins when they wear responsibility with presence, not perfection, and let respect grow through service, not self-promotion. Sun plus Venus, the artistic leader or the vanity-driven authority. This conjunction graces Scorpio rising with charm, style, and creativity in professional life, ideal for leadership in design, luxury, performance, or aesthetic-centered ventures. But when afflicted, it creates vanity, codependence on praise, or reluctance to make tough public decisions. They evolve when they let beauty become truth, not camouflage, and build careers that reflect values, not just visuals. Sun plus Jupiter, the visionary builder or the self-righteous icon. This regal duo blesses Scorpio rising with expansive public influence. They may become teachers, institutional leaders, or moral authorities. Yet if unevolved, it breeds pride, overconfidence, or a need to be right rather than to lead wisely. Their dharma deepens when they match confidence with humility and share wisdom as guidance, not gospel. Moon plus Mars, the emotional commander or the public reactor. This combination brings Scorpio rising fierce loyalty to public mission and a deep emotional drive in career. They can lead with empathy and action, but if immature, they may struggle with emotional volatility under public pressure. Their breakthrough happens when they channel emotion into endurance and use empathy to elevate, not overwhelm their leadership. Venus plus Mercury, the diplomatic voice or the approval-seeking presenter. This blend makes Scorpio rising charming, eloquent, and creative in public communication. They may rise in fields involving arts, media, branding, or conscious leadership. But if unauthentic, this can lead to superficial messaging or indecisiveness in career vision. Power ripens when they speak with clarity, not for comfort, and align words with inner authority, not external affirmation. Rahu plus Sun, the magnetic disruptor or the recognition addict. This volatile combo can catapult Scorpio rising into sudden fame, especially in politics, media, or innovation. They're bold, unpredictable, and trend-setting. But Rahu's hunger distorts the Sun's clarity, causing ego inflation or identity confusion. Their path clears when they choose influence over attention and understand that real legacy outlives applause. In summary, Leo in the 10th house teaches Scorpio rising that true power cannot hide. These conjunctions reveal how they transform their internal fire into creative, consistent, and courageous leadership. This is where Scorpio learns that it's not just enough to understand the system, they must embody its renewal. When integrated, Scorpio rising becomes a fearless leader who creates with conviction, carries legacy with grace, and leads not from dominance, but from dignified, soul-centered fire. The Upachaya houses conscious growth with time, Scorpio rising, Part 5. The 11th house, Virgo, purposeful networks, service-based gains, and strategic social impact, where the lone alchemist learns to collaborate and the fixer becomes the system builder. For Scorpio rising, the 11th house, Labhasthana, the domain of long-term goals, alliances, and cumulative karmic rewards, falls in Virgo, ruled by Mercury. After the fire of Leo in the 10th demands they step into public leadership, Virgo in the 11th brings them back into structure, humility, and logic, not to dim their power, but to refine it. Here, Scorpio rising must learn that true gain isn't just about control or dominance. It's about precision, service, and systems that outlast them. This house insists they transform their ambitious goals into measurable outcomes. No idealistic dreaming or charisma-driven movements will thrive here. Only efficient teamwork, practical effort, and high standards. It also asks Scorpio rising to choose allies carefully, not based on charm or status, but on shared discipline and value-driven contribution. Let's explore the defining conjunctions in Virgo that shape Scorpio rising's growth in long-term social influence and structured gains. Mercury plus Saturn, the institutional strategist or the social cynic. This powerful combination gives Scorpio rising deep analytical insight and endurance in building community structures. They may lead in policy, research, or organizational development, but when afflicted, it creates isolation, fear of collaboration, or overly rigid ideals. Maturity arrives when they balance precision with openness and realize that true strategy includes emotional intelligence. Mercury plus Mars, the tactical networker or the combative collaborator. This high-activity pairing gives Scorpio rising sharp coordination skills, especially in task-oriented groups or goal-focused alliances. They thrive in digital strategy, entrepreneurship, or campaign leadership. But when unevolved, it causes impatience with others, argumentative group dynamics, or burnout from perfectionism. Growth unfolds when they match speed with discernment and lead others by helping them perform, not just pushing them. Venus-Mercury, the community artist, or the approval-seeking idealist. This elegant conjunction gives Scorpio rising charm and grace in collaborative spaces. They attract allies through thoughtful communication, taste, and reliability. Great for creative projects, brand collectives, or educational platforms. But afflicted, it results in indecision, people-pleasing, or avoidance of necessary feedback. Their evolution begins when they value harmony without sacrificing standards, and when truth becomes part of beauty, not a threat to it. Sun plus Mercury, the intellectual leader or the ego-driven planner. This combination lends Scorpio rising a strong public voice in networks. They may lead thought-based communities, educational initiatives, or problem-solving task forces, but early on, it may cause them to dominate conversations or define their worth through ideas. Maturity comes when they let ideas serve collective purpose and lead through clarity, not control. Rahu plus Mercury, the disruptive organizer or the scatterbrained campaigner. This visionary pairing pushes Scorpio rising to innovate through systems thinking, digital outreach, or tech-enabled collaboration. Their ideas spread fast, but so can burnout or miscommunication. When integrated, they become trend-setting reformers who build structures others follow. But the key is staying anchored in ethics and detail, and grounding innovation in lived reality. Saturn plus Venus, the reliable contributor or the dutiful pleaser. This practical duo gives Scorpio rising patient dedication to teamwork. They are seen as the reliable ones, the ones who deliver. They may excel in service design, slow-growth projects, or healing-oriented collectives. But if afflicted, they fear asking for help, suppress pleasure, or carry resentment in service roles. Their growth lies in giving from fullness, not obligation, and allowing relationships to be mutual, not measured solely by utility. Moon Mercuryist, or the nervous networker. This combination adds emotional intelligence to Scorpio rising's intellectual style. They are sensitive to group dynamics, intuitive with timing, and capable of being the emotional translator within logical teams. But when imbalanced, it leads to overthinking social cues or taking collective feedback too personally. Maturity blooms when they anchor emotion without absorbing it and let insight speak calmly, not anxiously. Mars-Jupiter, the mission-driven achiever or the overextending reformer. This fiery Earth combo gives Scorpio rising ambitious vision within structured movements. They may lead initiatives that blend ethics with execution, especially in public health, education, or systemic reform. But if imbalanced, it causes overpromising control issues in collaborations or burnout from unrealistic ideals. Their wisdom shines when they build systems that empower others and when they pace their passion for the long game. In summary, Virgo in the 11th house teaches Scorpio rising that social progress isn't about loyalty or control. It's about consistency, clarity, and clean systems. These conjunctions define whether their network is built on true alignment or reactive ambition. This is the arena where the lone strategist becomes the servant leader, where power becomes process, and where transformation takes root in collective structure, not just private will. When integrated, Scorpio rising becomes not just a powerful player, but an architect of social evolution, quiet, exacting, and enduring in their impact.